Have you been to a reptile show recently? Hundreds of vendors, thousands of animals, and an average of less than 20% of those vendors making any money at all. Have you been to Morph Market recently? There are currently over 40,000 ball pythons for sale on the Double M, with many animals staying there for months, sometimes years at a time. In this insanely competitive marketplace, what are you going to do to stand out? I'll tell you what the you're going to do. Aura Reptiles offer premier consultation services on everything from breeding plans to current market trends. Patrick McKnight has been one of the most successful mainstays in the ball python hobby for the past 15 years and can assist you with pairings, marketing plans, and advertising. Be smart enough to know what you don't know. Then learn about it from Aura Reptiles. Check them out on Instagram at Aura Reptiles and get in touch with Patrick McKnight today. Get in the f***ing game.
It's an online reptile conference. It's free and you're invited. Epic happens this Friday, April 4th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific time. Remember, it won't be on YouTube, so type epic.live into your browser to register and watch online. And thanks to our amazing corporate sponsors, Redline Shipping, Pangea, Josh's Frogs, Reptile Basics, Chewy.com, and Palm Street. Thanks, and we'll see you this Friday at epic.live.
All right, hold on 1 second. Let's see here. There we go. Okay. Got a lot of shit going on here, so I'm sorry. Welcome to episode 134 of Snakes and the Fat Man. We got Cory DeLong here and my boy Blake from Renaissance Reptiles here tonight. Right off the bat, we're going to get it over with. See that red check in the corner, right? The reason why that red check is in the corner is because we are sponsored by Redline Shipping, right? The best way to ship your animals on the planet, okay? Look, you know, there's a lot of shit going on right now. Just want to say that I've been friends with Robin for years, way before he even started Redline. As a matter of fact, I was just telling Cory, when I think about Robin, I don't think about Redline Robin. I think about Pro Exotics Robin. So Robin's been doing this forever. He's the guy that started shipping reptiles. He did all the systems, all the websites, everything else. And that's the guy that you should go to, okay? Right now, if you use Redline Shipping, boom, Robin 60. It's good for 2 shipments, 60% off. And if you want to endorse the Fat Man a little bit, you could just use the code FATMAN for another $5 off fucking any additional shipping. So basically, you get in touch with Robin. He'll give you a discount to match the other guys, and he's just better at it. All right. Also, I'm gonna get these over with now so that we have them that we have them out of the way, and I don't forget them again, because I forgot a couple in the last in the last couple episodes. So let's see here. This episode's also sponsored by Reptile, which a lot of other companies are claiming that they're the best cocoa substrate in the reptile world. Trust me, they are not. Okay, they are fucking not. Reptile, right? The number one selling, number one veteran owned fucking substrate company in the hobby. I'm going to play a little ad for them now.
Reptile sets new standards for reptile substrates. Made from the highest quality coconut available anywhere in the world, our products allow enthusiasts to provide their reptiles with the necessary humidity and thermoregulation required to allow their animals to thrive. In the world of reptile care, the substrate forms the very foundation of a healthy and vibrant habitat. At Reptile, we've taken this essential element and elevated it to unparalleled heights, blending innovation with sustainability to create a product that stands in a league of its own. Our journey began with a simple yet profound motto: all of our products are made by reptile people, for reptile people. Today, we stand as a beacon of quality and trust, embraced by novice and expert reptile enthusiasts alike. From the meticulous selection of raw materials to our veteran-led approach to business, every facet of Reptile reflects a deep-rooted commitment to excellence. Discover why Reptile is the preferred choice for reptile enthusiasts around the globe. Our foundation is deeply rooted in passion, quality, and community engagement, setting us apart as a unique leader in the industry. Don't be a Reptivich. Be a Repti bro. Visit us now at reptichip.com.
Reptile, we're doing a lot of promotion this episode, okay? Speaking of, this Friday is when it's all going down. Epic, the exotic pet industry conference. Doing that with Bash Coder, with Adam from Proper Royals, with Mike from Herb Collectors. This thing is sponsored by Chewy and Pangea and all the other great people, Redline, all the other people in the ad that you previously saw from Craig. And, me and Craig are basically going to be handling the intros and outros and backstage and all the other fun stuff. It's going to be a bunch of different panels, everything from community building to podcasting to it's not a ball python conference. Okay. So, and it's also not on YouTube. So if you want to see this thing live as it goes down, you got to go to epic.live and register for it. I mean, come on. What are you doing with your life? Get your fucking life together and register for epic.live, because it's going to be a fun time and you're going to learn a lot. Let's see. Oh, pretty exciting weekend we had. We went to Gettysburg, which normally, I don't go to a lot of the smaller shows, but let me tell you something. We had a great fucking time in Gettysburg. We went there repping the Operation Deeds Not Words thing, and we sold a ton of shirts. And I just started thinking, like, all of these big events like Tinley and Daytona and all that, they have people streaming live from it, and no one's really doing it with the smaller shows. And what I think I'm going to get back into is doing live events from the smaller shows also. But like, I'll still eventually do the big ones too. But why not help out the smaller shows? And that's what we're going to try and do in the next couple of months, is try and help people out. Okay. We're doing shows like the Albany show, like the Hamburg show, the Nassau show, which really isn't a small show anymore, but we'll be doing all of this, not selling snakes. All right. Not hawking our wares and fucking animals. because let's face it, I don't have animals to hawk, but we're doing this disabled veteran thing where we're raising money for Camp Freedom down in Pennsylvania, and Camp Freedom actually pulls people out of a clinical setting. Disabled vets pulls them out of a clinical setting and gets them back into nature and doing the things that they used to do prior to their disability that they received while they were serving. So we're selling these cool ass t-shirts. I'm sure that it's run across your feed a couple of times because we've been promoting the shit out of it. And for the people that are that write me and tell me they're getting tired of it, and they're saying that you're supposed to be a content creator, you're supposed to be a reptile content creator, fucking go eat a dick. All right, fucking I'm excited to be working on something like this because something like this is real. It's not about which fucking shipping company you're using or who's doing the better auctions or who's getting whatever kind of check mark. This is actually helping out disabled vets, and it's something that I love doing. And me and Jay from Green Line and Charlie from Reagan Renee are really passionate about this. And for me to say passionate, I hate that fucking word, but we are about this cause. So I also want to shoot out thanks to the people that have been helping us with this campaign, like HJS, like Shauna, like Blake, who's on tonight, Cory, who's on tonight, was a top contributor on the thing, bought the shirts. I mean, look, listen, all the cool kids are doing it. So go to the fatmannation.com and pick yourself up a fucking shirt, all right? All right, don't be a cheap bastard. Why don't you fucking do something for the people that risked everything so that you didn't have to, so that you could breed your dumb snakes, so that you could, breed your dumb lizards. Fucking, this is the reason that you're doing it. And Cory DeLong tonight is a vet, so that's why I'm just loving the fact that we're having him here. Anyway, go to the thing and buy yourself a shirt. Great time in Gettysburg. We actually we went to the battlefield, me, Paul, and Shauna, and drove around there for a little while. We got a little video. I'll be releasing that as a Patreon only thing. Speaking of, join the Patreon, all right? Have a little fucking fun, all right? There got to be a point where you're just like, I'm tired of all this fucking drama. I'm tired of all this fucking seeing these idiots congratulating each other for getting a pastel clown or hatching out a pastel clown. You don't want to talk about that 24 hours a day. You can't. If you're one of these ball pythons or a lifestyle people, then don't join the Patreon. But if you want to have fun and you want to laugh a little bit and you want to make a shitty week a little bit better, then join the Patreon. Okay. I promise you will laugh a lot. All right. What else do we have going on here? There's not a lot. Oh, look, I left a picture of Izzy. That's my little northern blue tongue. Okay, we're getting a little props. All right. I like him because he's just like me. He's fat, he's angry, and he's pretty much miserable all the time. So not just like me. He has all his legs. So, but yeah, that's about it. Anyway, excited about tonight's show. The show, I don't know if you've heard, but just prior to this episode going on the air, Charlie and Patrick from shedtesting.com and Aura Reptiles, respectively, they just put out a show with two new morph tests that they have available, and that is Lace and Monarch. And I'm interested to see the shitstorm of all you people who are like, I got this lace clown, I got this lace whatever, and it's not lace. It's going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. So expect that drama in the next couple of weeks. Anyway, shedtesting.com. I mean, Charlie is the shit. You guys already know that. Guy's basically disrupting a fucking business or an industry from his garage. He does everything from albinos and candies and cryptics to desert ghost, gravel, lavender albino, Hurricane, lesser, piebald. I don't know why you need a test for lesser, but I guess it's cool that it's there. Xanthic, I think he got a zebra also, sunset, special, puzzle, Mojave. He has a lot of shit. Okay. Guy has a lot of shit. And Charlie's like one of the nicest fucking guys that I've met in this hobby, and I fucking love hanging out with him. Charlie and I hung out with Kevin from Sugar Skull and enjoyed a nice meal at Outback. Okay. Pretty fucking cool. That's all I'm saying. Charlie's the kind of guy that you could have a beer with and fucking go to Outback with. So use shettesting.com. Fucking, listen, look at this. Super chat, SFC Reptiles. Thank you. If you guys fucking want to do super chats, you will help us get to all these local shows because some of them ain't so local. And I appreciate it. You have just helped feed Izzy and get us to a show, SFC. So the more the better. I'm just happy. Let's validate some of you people in here. I know Sean is flipping out backstage because we're running late. I'm already 16 minutes in. All right, who do we got here, Shauna? HJS Serpents Rich made some great pulled pork at Gettysburg. Thank you, brother, for all the help that you've done with the Deeds Not Words thing. Sinful Serpents Exotics, fucking thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. Audacious Ball Python, this is my girl Stephanie. She's fucking killing it up there in New Hampshire. Love her. She's fucking new breeder. This is my boy right here, Green Line Morphs. Let me tell you something. When you work with Jay, you could guarantee that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed because I've never seen a worker like this dude. Cory DeLong is doing double duty and just stopping in. Python Prince is doing double duty too. So that's not so bad. Lace White, let's fucking go. Fucking thank you, Lace, for coming by. RT Royals, thank you, Tyson. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Chain Reaction Exotics. Danny was repping Operation Deeds Not Words in Dallas this weekend. And I fucking loved seeing that. Fire Baby Brittany, we fucking missed you at Gettysburg. We will see you at Hamburg. So thank you for popping by. Bods, fucking Jeremy owns a shirt. Send a picture of him with a big gun, okay, in that fucking shirt. So thank you, Jeremy, for doing that. Ro from Ink Lady. Actually, Ink Lady is on the back of the shirt, okay? So we got a vet there too. So yeah, Kat's the one on the back of the shirt. I remembered her name. Okay. Morforge, Jason, what's up, brother? Thank you for coming by. I appreciate you. You guys are fucking Patreon people too, so I love that. RNA Ball Pythons, what's up, brother? Thank you for stopping by. Will's hella heat. Fucking Will's been quiet. I haven't seen much about Will. There's not a lot of trouble starting. This is my boy, fucking Blind Mike. I fucking love this guy, and he is going to be on an episode of Rise of the Machines. Pretty cool with me and Bionic Benny. So thank you for coming by. Sammy fucking was killer this weekend in Gettysburg. So I always, whenever I get a chance to hang out with Sammy, I love it. So thank you for coming, Sammy. I appreciate you. 319 Reptiles, Chris, Patreon member. Fucking love you, brother. Thank you for all you do to support. And we hope we throw the support back to you. Let's see who else we got. Catalina Morph Mixer. What's up, Ashley Fry? All right. Patreon member also. Gotta love her. She's killing it out there. KMB Reptiles, Matt Byrne. Thank you for coming by. Obviously, you're here for Cory. Yeah, I'm here for Cory too. Let's see. What are we gonna? Let's see. Oh, dude, Patrick. What's up, my brother? Patrick is also on the shirt, on the Deeds Not Words shirt on the back with his years of service on the back as well. So that's what I'm saying, Dragon Soul. SFC, thank you for everything. Let's see. Who else do we got here? Lindsay Pico Pythons. Holy shit. Haven't seen you in a while. What's going on? Hope everything is good. Limey. Fucking Limey is the I mean, you guys think I support fucking vets. Fucking Limey fucking wrote the book on snake people supporting vets. So happy to have a legend like Limey there. Irresistibles, my girl Nikki will be working the epic thing on Friday night with her. So thank you for coming by. And do we have anybody else? Carter's Coils. This is, I think, your second time here. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate you being here for Cory and Blake. And let's see. We're gonna stop. No, okay, yeah, we're gonna stop at the Carter's Carlos. All right. Now, this guy, all right, fucking Renaissance Snakes, my boy Blake. Met this guy a couple months ago. Talked to him online for even longer than that. And fucking love this guy's fucking, I'm gonna use the word again, passion coming into this fucking hobby. He's killing it. Okay. He's not gonna be shirtless in the shower this evening. Okay. All right. We have to run a PG show here. I'm only allowed 2 F-bombs. And I'm trying to keep it that way. Okay. So listen, 15 Minutes of Lame is sponsored by Clutch. So check them out.
The ball python industry has never been more complex, but managing your collection, it's about to get a whole lot easier with Clutch. Created by Canova, Clutch is the cloud-based platform designed to streamline your entire collection management. From creating and searching your inventory to visualizing your breeding projects with powerful analytics, Clutch does it all. Track your clutches with a virtual incubator, connect customers with the perfect animal using an amazing waitlist system, and easily print labels for your shows and facility. It's that simple. You already know Canova for exceptional ball pythons. Now they're making ball python management just as exceptional. Visit cltch.io today and make your ball python road easier to navigate.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Snakes and the Fatman proudly brings to you its new breeder segment, 15 Minutes of Lame!
What's up, guys? It's Justin at Canova. For the past 5 years, 15 Minutes of Lame has become a launch pad for so many new successful breeders and a badge of honor in this industry. It's been so amazing to watch the passion and dedication you guys have and to watch your businesses grow. Just remember, the next me might be you.
15 Minutes of Lame!
Yo, look who I have here. Fucking Blake, Python Prince, Renaissance Snakes. What's up, brother?
Not much. What's good? Happy to be here.
Catalina, fucking thank you. I appreciate it, Ashley. Everybody else can follow Ashley's lead. Pay a few gas bills here. Blake, what's up, brother? Fucking how did we meet exactly?
Well, I think I just started being annoying online and then got into the Patreon for you at first. And then I finally showed up in person. And you weren't expecting it.
Yeah, no, we weren't expecting it. We definitely weren't expecting it in Atlanta, where you had gotten your car broken into the last time you went there.
Everything's an adventure with me.
You're driving these fucking 20-hour trips to come onto these fucking shows, and you came on to the fucking show or to the circuit, the ball python circuit, a little aggressive, like you know what's going on, right? So you know what you want to do. And real quick, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna start the clock here. You're gonna hawk your wares. You got 15 minutes to do your shit. And let's just start that right off the bat. Boom. All right. Now, Python Prince, Renaissance Snakes, they're all very what's the word? Yeah. All right. Yeah. What when you came into this, first of all, how did you get into this, and why did you start doing this?
All right. So the whole liking snakes has been a lifelong thing. And in a weird way, I remember one of my older sister's boyfriend's friends, he was always catching snakes. And I was like, you better bring me some. And my mom was like, you better not bring him some. One of the first things I could draw was a cobra. One of the first, actually, The first tattoo I got before I apprenticed and the first tattoo I did after I apprenticed for being a tattoo artist, both were snakes on myself. I've had scales. I have stuck shed right now. I'm doing scales right now too, like legitimately stuck shed. Look at that. There we go. This is I was getting tattooed recently, so I'm getting scales actually on my arm. But no, this was like a dermaplast thing. But so I was always into reptiles also, and I used to be married, and from the mother to the ex-wife, they were both like no to the snakes. Never could have them. I did a little bit of breeding originally with some other reptiles, and if you want, we can get into that later. We'll try and save some time with that. But I remember reading Reptile magazine. I knew names like Crutchfield and Bob Clark and stuff like that back in the day before there was really online or when it was only dial up. You know, this was
Right.
an early thing and knew of other shows. And I grew up around somebody that was a snake breeder. And looking back, he was actually relatively big for what it was in the 90s. Like he had a facility and a van that he was going around and going to things. And he was into corn snakes, but at a large level. So now looking back, like it's amazing to what he was actually doing at the time. And I wish I could ask him questions now about them. Sorry, this is annoying me. All right, there we go. But so I was able to see some, be around some. Now, fast forward to after the marriage, after all that, I got into tarantulas during a different time and then started going to shows because I only been to one like a long time ago. It was way different. And then I started seeing ball pythons. And when I saw the ball pythons, it was something that it stuck out because they were not what I remembered from 20 years ago. The price point was different. The look of them was different. And it did look like a living art in a way. And I started going down the whole rabbit hole of videos and realizing what genetics were and what could be done, what has and hasn't been done. And I really fell hard into this rabbit hole and it called to me in many different ways. I had done things online already with social media and even with the tarantulas, I was starting to do stuff because I saw when researching, you know, you find many things, and I saw people within that realm that all the ball python people could even really benefit from, like the Tarantula Collective and Tarantula Cat. They do some amazing content for what their genre is.
Right.
And I wanted to get into that, but there really wasn't too much space. They dominate it. It's great. How many times can you show the same thing over and over? There's no change in this. There's change in the animals. You can do more things with them. It was a better venture. So I ended up getting out of those, kind of getting rid of all my tarantulas in trade for some ball pythons. And it took over from there. When I got those, I also first saw your show and a few other things. And when I started going down that, and I did make, like you said, like I know what I'm doing. Like I made goals and I was like, if this is what I'm going to do and I want to make something out of it, because by no means will it be a get rich quick scheme or an overnight thing with these things. I have to have multiple different realms, which is where Renaissance Snakes comes in, which would be some of the other part with that. I've always wanted to be and have been a Renaissance man. Right back to when I was young, I saw the movie with Danny DeVito, Renaissance Man.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Yeah.
Love that movie. Great movie. Yeah. And I had to find out what that term actually meant. And when I found out how it was a multifaceted, multi-talented, basically intellect, like somebody that could do a little bit of everything. You can work with your hands, you can hold yourself in any conversation. I was like, this is the kind of person I just want to be in general. And true to what it is, I've done so many things in life. And I am going to work more than just ball pythons, so it kind of encompassed that as well. And I will have just a plethora of things and can hold myself in any situation. And I'm an outside the box thinker. I am artistic. I am sometimes bold. Now the Python Prince thing, that was because knowing that I was going to do an online personality and seeing some other things, it was just a call to attention a little bit. You know, it's going to be catchy. It's going to get your attention, whether you think it's cocky or you're like, oh, what's this cute guy or something. Because I call some other attention with that, obviously.
Yeah, I have the same problem. You know, most of my listeners come in because they're like, "Who's this cute guy? You know, who's this cute one-legged guy?" Right?
Market for everything.
But yeah, no, I get it. All right. Some big projects you got going on in your collection right now.
I do.
You definitely didn't hold back. You didn't buy the $500 snake expecting to make $100,000 in your first year, right? You're putting some time and effort into this.
I really thought about my pairings hardcore. Like I'm at a point right now where it's just like I don't feel I'm ever gonna have to necessarily buy another jean unless there's some wild crazy thing. There's only like one or two things that are like on my radar that I'm like, it'd be really cool to kind of add that, but there's no need. And yeah, I got myself in deep with some really big jeans and good things, and then a handful of things that are my own. And they weren't like, let me get a grab bag and hope, or let me get onto something. There's something that specifically it was a jean that is like, we've got this clutch that we took from the wild that is this and that nobody else had. I'm like, well, nobody else can have those. Let me have all of those.
Right.
So I
So,
want that.
so what are some of those jeans that you're working with?
Well, that one specifically would be a line of a cinnamon that I'm going to call Red Queen. I also have, let's see, anime, which is something that's supposed to be kind of like a stranger, but it seems a lot more like just defined, bright, and crisp. And then I have kind of like almost everybody does a granite style jean that was really just wild that I'm calling Godzilla.
Yeah,
And
but I don't want to talk about this shit like these jeans that nobody's ever heard of. What
oh,
are
well, you
some
said with those. Oh, you
established
want to talk
jeans?
about the other big jeans? Oh, all
Yeah,
right, all
yeah.
right. So, yeah, so I do have Sunset, Monsoon, Paint,
Shit,
Zebra,
sorry.
many multiples,
Mm.
and
Okay.
some of like when you're gonna get to the what's the most excited question? Probably putting the Jaguar males that I have, because I have two super orange stream Jaguar males, one with fire, one without, that I'm putting into a lot of the visuals of those others with females to try and see what that interaction is, and a few other cool things I'm playing with that.
Mm.
Won't go
And
too
what
deep,
other
but
species are you doing?
what's that? Oh, I'm
What other
doing sunbeam snakes. I'm doing hognose and what the Kenyan sandboas.
Kenyan sand boas, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody buys those. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, not too much, but
They're always hiding.
they're what? Always
They're
biting.
always hiding. Yeah.
They're a little nippy when you first get them out. Yeah, you
Yeah,
grab them
yeah.
by the butt, yank them out the sand. They don't like it. The sunbeam snake, though, I have had no bad interaction with that as far as pulling it out, doing anything. Like this is the most chill animal of all that I have. It's really impressive and gorgeous too, and they're not expensive. So it's just something that the one that I have right now, captive bred female in the market for the right male with that, she's super established and doing well with everything. And that's the tough thing with those. Many people haven't got them to be long-term established, and there isn't too many on the market right now for captive bred. So if I get into it, that's not a get rich thing at all. That's just introducing something new to the market that's gorgeous and cheap. And you got something like that, that's a ticket closer to Tinley than some of the other things,
Right,
because everybody
right.
else is working the other stuff. So,
Well,
like you
that's
said,
right.
with knowing what I'm doing, that's why I want to do something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure if you called up Potter and was like, I have sunbeam snakes, and
Captain
he'll
Brad
be
and
like,
mine.
come on in, we got a table wide open for you, right? Speaking of sponsors now, let's talk a little bit of sponsors. I don't know how well you're gonna do in this, but we will definitely check it out. Now, right off the bat, do you use Reptile?
Yes, that is one of the things I use. When I say that it's not like a competitor thing, I like to mix some of my own substrates, and I do a lot of bioactive stuff. So I like that for the roughage, and I use Reptisoil as a base, and all kinds of fun things. But I
Well,
absolutely,
JT does not give you a fuck you. He gives you a happy little thumbs up. Do you have a sea serpent's rack or incubator behind you at all?
behind me, no, but I do have one of their hatchling racks. That is the only true rack that I actually have, is one hatchling rack, which I will have to graduate and get more because it won't hold all the babies that I could potentially be making.
Right, right. Okay. Well, Chris Nettles does not give you a fuck you. He also gives you a little smiley face. Uh, have you ever bought a snake from Justin over at Canova?
I have.
You have. Justin does not give you a fuck you. That's all I'm saying. Do you use
Better.
Clutch to manage your collection?
I do. I mean, I'm a platinum person with Canova. I mean, so
Oh,
as
you're a platinum member of Canova.
I
Fucking A, right? Got them deep pockets. Fucking A.
no, I
Justin does
just
not give
know
you a fuck you, right? Have you ever bought anything from Recoil Reptiles?
I did actually. I tried sending you the thing earlier. I got a probe kit from them.
That's right. Fucking you did. So fucking Alan does not give you a fuck you. You're actually crushing this, dude. All right.
I do my homework.
I don't know. I don't know if you shipped yet, but when you ship, are you going to use Redline?
Yeah, I really have no choice. I mean, it's the person that helps the industry, so I like what they
That's
do.
what
I
I'm
have them
saying.
all over my car currently. I have like other bag. I think I had a patch on, but I lost it. But yeah, nothing. Of course.
Yo, you got the white one. Fucking nice. You got the little fag bag 2000. That's great.
Yeah, I need the bigger one though. I need more patches.
Dude,
I don't have enough space.
yeah, but the bigger one is like $300, and I'm like,
Ooh,
fucking. I get,
I'm gonna work towards
everybody
the sponsorship. That means.
everybody thinks that Robin just sends me shit. He did not send me that big $300 bag. I'll tell you that.
Mm.
Now, have you ever been to a Herps Exotics reptile show?
See, and this was something I sent you earlier too. Not in person. I did try and take initiative, and I found on YouTube some people that did some walkthroughs of their shows. So I did that, and then I tried to buy a ticket so I could still pay price of admission, but they don't sell tickets on their website anymore. So I mean, I gave an attempt.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna give that to you. I'm gonna give it to you. Fucking Sean Gray gives you a fucking happy little smiley face,
Thank
man.
you.
When you're shed testing, do you use Charlie?
His logo and auras is tattooed on my leg.
Yes.
Yeah, so again, no choice.
Yep.
And he's like 10 minutes up the road. He'll come arrest me if I don't.
And well, speaking of that, I believe you have an aura tattoo on your leg also.
I do.
So you definitely use Patrick too, right?
Yeah, and I have an aura snake here. As soon as I opened up, I'd actually did get an aura snake.
Fucking nice. All right. Now, obviously, you're a member of US Arc, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think we're done. I think we got everything in there so far. Oh, have you ever at least hopped on Show Me Marketplace?
Show Me.
Yeah.
I have gone to Show Me Marketplace, and I remember some of their very first like online reptile things that they did with Martial Arachnids when I was into tarantulas, and I was
That's
at their
right.
open auction things.
Look, you are crushing this. Okay, Mickey does not give you a fuck you. Okay, I mean, look at this.
Clean sweep.
Now,
I'm telling you.
Obviously, you're a US Arc member, right? And you know, so you basically have this thing down. What's happening in the next 5 years for Renaissance Snakes?
I'm going to be on an airplane next to Justin going overseas somewhere and checking out other markets.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. That's the fact of goal.
Look, no, I would guarantee that he doesn't, Limey. Do you use Morph Markets shipping?
No. No, I would not.
Fucking see, Limey is just being a fucking dick, a troublemaking dick right now.
Nah, I don't have a green check mark. I'm sorry.
So yeah, fucking Lace White was like, who isn't tattooed on Blake's leg? Right? Fucking so how do people get in touch with you right now?
Right now, I mean, the best ways is probably going to be Instagram or TikTok. If you actually want to see how I keep the rest of these in an early thing, that is on TikTok and no other thing yet.
You're a 35-year-old man with a TikTok account.
I'm 41, actually. And yeah,
41.
Yeah. I've been very famous on TikTok before. It helped me.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that, okay?
No.
But fucking, because your kid may be watching, so I don't even want to go there, okay? But you're maintaining the TikTok now. Is TikTok easier to get views? Is that like what's going on with that? Thank you, Kevin.
It is and isn't. I remade this one, got an okay following, and kind of took a break from that to go over to the Instagram, really realizing that that's where an okay amount of the ball python people are. And now I'm going to start also a YouTube, which is going to be a little bit controversial and very different from all the rest of the characters that you see of me. It's going to be more actual Blake and thought. But yeah, those will be the best ones to get a hold of me on, is Instagram and TikTok for now. And
okay,
yeah,
well, look at this. You're a pro at this. You fucking timed it just right, brother.
That's
fucking
right.
timed it just right. Well, listen, we are gonna be at Hamburg, so I hope to see you there.
Yeah.
But apparently, what I'm pretty sure is me and Charlie are gonna be at the Albany show as well. So kind of just go in there, kind of go to the Albany show and kind of fucking let them see how it's done with fucking the Fatman shed testing guy coming up. So that's only.
And then afterwards, I definitely know the best places to eat and stuff. So it'd be a great time.
Well, we'll definitely do that. Blake, seriously, thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking the time.
Honor and been a goal for a while now.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, I'm gonna obviously ask you the last question. Are you gonna run in the 15 minutes of lane competition this year?
I've been running while people didn't even know it. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
win or not, I've already won this. I like this.
You've already won.
I already won.
Gauntlet
Even if I
thrown
don't win,
down.
I already won. Just that's the way I feel, is what I'm saying. Not that cocky, but no. But I'm gonna bring some fun stuff. I'll be a tough competitor.
I fucking love you, brother, and I hope to see you in the next couple of weeks at a show. We'll be doing the deeds not words thing. So come out, help us out, model some shirts.
I will. I'm gonna actually pose with the biggest gun of all. I promise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We're not even gonna be around for when your daughter asks you about that question. All right, fucking dude. I will fucking talk to you later. Thanks for coming on. Go follow Blake, Renaissance.snakes on Instagram.
Yeah, no underscore.
Right. Fucking thanks again, Blake. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you. Later, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Snakes in the Batman proudly brings to you its new breeder segment, 15 Minutes of Lame!
Show Me Marketplace is the new online reptile-based selling platform that is both simple and straightforward for both buyers and sellers. More importantly, it was designed specifically for what reptile breeders and keepers have been asking for, a viable alternative for what's currently available in the selling space. No complicated fees, no tiered membership plans. One affordable price gives you access to everything you need, plus unlimited listings from your own Show Me Marketplace store. That's right. More listings, more exposure, and no hidden costs. But that's not all. Sign up today and use code FATMAN-50 at showmereptileshow.com/marketplace and get 50% off your membership. Already a Show Me Show vendor? You'll enjoy an even deeper discount. Building a safe, trusted community is important to us. That's why all sellers go through identity verification to fight fraud and ensure you're working with reputable breeders. It's time to ditch the corporate chaos and get back to what matters. Show Me Marketplace is a true alternative to everything that's out there. So sign up today and join the revolution. Don't be corporate, be punk rock. No matter how old you are. ShowMeReptileShows.com/marketplace.
Look who I have here. This is the most legendary guy that just plays it quiet, and you might never have even heard of him. But I've heard of this guy 15 years ago. Cory DeLong, CD Constrictors. What's up, brother?
How's it going? How's it going, Chris?
I'm living the dream, buddy. How are you doing?
Yep. Good. Thanks for having me. Yeah, Blake, he's got some energy, huh?
Yeah, you don't fuck around. That guy's just
no,
dude. This motherfucker did a wardrobe change at fucking SCRE. Fucking.
I didn't catch that. I did see him there. We took a picture, but I didn't see the wardrobe change.
yeah. This motherfucker was like David Lee Roth in Van Halen's prime. Okay.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Right.
I missed it.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a fun guy to have around and hang out with. Has an energy to him,
Yeah.
He kind of just makes you happy when you're around him.
Right.
And it's funny because Sammy Vargas has that same energy, but he's totally opposite of Blake. Like Sammy looks like a 5 foot tall, pink shirt wearing troll. All right. But fucking Sammy still has that same kind of BDE energy that Blake puts out. But seriously, fucking 15, 20 years. How long have you been doing this?
About 13 years. Not quite as long as you thought, but yeah, I've been doing it for more than a hot minute, and less than a lot of the OGs, that's for sure. Right in the middle there. 13 years.
Well, the first time I heard of you was at a Daytona, and I think 2013 or 12. I was hanging out with Justin, and he's like, hold on a minute, I got to go to Cory DeLong's table, right? So I'm pretty sure it was at a Daytona.
Could have.
But
That was the first show I vended was Daytona. I vended in 2014. That was my first show that I vended, and I actually did pretty well there. So it was, it's right in my backyard. I couldn't not go. So it was a pretty good show.
you're based out of Florida, right?
Yeah, right in Daytona Beach. I'm like 5 minutes from
You're
the
in
ocean.
Daytona Beach. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
like I go by the Ocean Center almost every day.
So basically, you don't have to spend money on hotels. You don't got to spend money on dinners. You just go home after the show.
I spend money on dinners, obviously. I try to be somewhat of a fair host when everybody's coming in from out of town. We usually have a good get together on Thursday night, kind of like a little mixer, We've been doing it for 2 or 3 years now. So, if you come into town, if you're here Thursday, definitely invited to have a good crowd of people, usually 30, 40 people. So it's a good time. And, just try to show people around who want to see some different places. I find a lot of off the beaten path places, to take some people if they want to go. And it's a good little town. You want to go to the main places. There's always those options too, but there's a lot of good little places around here that a lot of people haven't heard about.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
No. I love the hole in the wall.
Yep.
Places
Exactly.
That the only the locals know about.
Yeah. Yep.
Those are the most fun places.
Yeah.
Now you've also, I mean, right away, what got you into the ball python thing? What made you look at it and say, like, hey, I can make some money with this. I love these animals. I could do, I could show off my stuff and actually make a business out of it. What was that turning point for you?
That wasn't it to start with. My youngest son actually was down here summer vacation, and we had ended up at a pet shop. I used to have birds, so I had some, Amazon macaws, you name it. I had it for birds, African gray, and then my son wanted to go to the pet shop, and we ended up. You see this ball python, and I had really no literal exposure to the reptile industry, reptile world before this. I saw them at the pet shop, but I supported my local guy. But never really took too much of an interest. So we ended up getting two that day, two snakes, ball pythons. And, my friend at the pet shop who I'd been getting bird stuff from, birds and supplies. Yeah, Oyster Pub. Hey, Winston, thanks for dropping in. I just ended up, he showed me a few websites. I think it was like King Snake and like bp.net back then, and
Right,
like
yeah.
2012. Those were the big things, right? Showed me some cool. It's like, hey, with this one animal that you got, you could make this, and of course, he's showing me like a blue-eyed Lucy. And back then, that was a big thing, 2012. So I'm like, really, that's possible? And I started looking into stuff and just, um, started taking a look at different combinations. And that summer, this was right before Daytona. This happened in June when my son was here. So, Daytona's in August. I went to Daytona and just started buying stuff. I bought, pies. I bought, a handful of things, and ended up getting, some sea serpent racks, from my local shop, and then met up with Chris and, ordered some racks from him, and it just snowballed. In all honesty, I had some this office that I'm in right now used to be my original reptile room. Had a couple racks in here, and then finally moved it out to the garage, and just kept getting bigger and bigger. And at a certain point, I was a nurse by profession.
Thank you, Chris. Right.
And did that, and ball pythons were making me a little side money, and I think it was around 2000, maybe 15, 16, about 4 or 5 years in, and I was like, this is bringing in a little bit of income here, and I'm like, I could see this scaling, to a position where I could sustain a lifestyle, so I kind of, I was helping out Winston Smith. He's over in Orlando there. Kind of met him around 15 or 16, at Daytona and some local shows. Helped him out at his place for a year or two, and learned a lot there. And I think it was like in 2018 is when I finally said goodbye to my lawn business. I sold that, and then said goodbye to nursing. I just retired. I still keep my license active, in case, hell freezes over, I guess. But
Yeah.
and it's just a good thing to have, as a fallback option if I need some extra income. I don't think it would ever come to that, but just a good thing to keep in the back pocket.
Well, you probably certainly didn't think it would ever come to that during COVID, but
No,
these
no.
days, what do you think the response should be to what a lot of people call a falling market? Now, a lot of the people that are calling it the falling market aren't really operating on a high end.
Right.
But what are your thoughts on the recession that people still keep blaming COVID for? 5
Well,
years later.
I think we saw a little bit of a downturn for me anyway in around the 2017, 2018 era when I was just decided to kind of go full time. And that's kind of one of the reasons that I was helping out Winston. Besides, he's just a nice guy. I was helping him out for a little extra income, because sales were still okay, but I could use a little extra money, and helping him out 3 days a week or so. I kind of went over there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, helped him out. And so that was a little extra money in my pocket when things were maybe a little bit not the best for me. At the same time, I was deciding to go full time, trying to make that work for me. So,
Right.
I've seen a couple. I think that was the last one, really. 17, 18 for me anyway was kind of a little downturn. So it's not the first kind of one that's happened. And there's always up years and down years, whether you might have a year of low production, or your females don't want to cooperate, or your star male or a couple males that you have don't really come through for you, so you didn't get the clutches that you thought you were going to end up with. So the industry, the market ebbs and flows, and right now we're just seeing one of those times where things are down. We had so many people that got in during COVID, spent a lot of money, trying to recoup that now. And with the economy and with the number of animals that are out there for new people that got in, and it's a tough market, no doubt about it. But I just think you have to plug away at your projects, and just work what you like, because at the end of the day, no matter what happens, if you sell them or not, you have to have animals that you enjoy working with and keeping. And for me, that's what it's all about. I go out into the garage and look at stuff, and of course I care if people like what I produce, but at the end of the day, I have to like, what I have in the racks out there.
Right. You're keeping it for you,
Leviathans.
right?
Yeah. I mean, you've got to look at it every day, I mean, so,
Yeah. Thank you, Leviathan.
you've got to enjoy, what you're doing. And that's definitely the case. I try to keep animals that I enjoy looking at. I enjoy keeping. I enjoy imagining what the next combination could be that I could make with them, and just keep plugging away at it. That's what I tell a lot of people that are getting in and ask for any kind of advice. I'm like, pick a couple projects that you really have a passion for, and just dig away at those, and keep grinding away. And because I've been in this industry long enough to realize that what's not popular right now could very well be very popular in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at what, let's take a step back, 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, Hypo and Exanthic, they weren't very popular 4 or 5 years ago. And now, and Desert Ghost as well. And now look at all three of those genes are like, I'm not going to say top of the food chain, but they're up there,
Yeah.
whereas 4 or 5 years ago, you could hardly give them away. They just
Well,
weren't.
that's what Limey told me one time.
Yeah.
Where 5 years ago he had paints on the table, he couldn't give them away.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah. I just
and
messaged him about one the other week, and he's like, I don't really know if I want to sell that, and I'm like, oh, come on, man, well, fucker.
Well, also the same thing happened with like Black Pastel, right? As soon as
Right.
the Pompeii came back, I remember we were selling black pastels for like $200 a piece,
Right.
and Pompeii came out, pow, $1,500 per black
Yeah.
pastel, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
it was definitely, and it still is in a way. The majority of the hobby kind of still follows and chases, the people that are on top right now,
Right.
but they'll never admit that. They always say they're going their own way. They're not chasing anything. But a lot of the people, once they see something that Justin's working on, they throw all their eggs into the Justin basket. Yeah, and how they don't know that at the end of the day, they're never going to get the same amount of money that Justin gets is beyond me. But like even you, who've been around for 15 years, you could have a snake that's worth $15,000, and Justin will sell it for $15,000. But
Right.
you might have a little trouble getting
Right.
$15,000 just because you're not the name that Justin is, right?
Right, right, absolutely, absolutely. I've bought several animals from Justin and talked to him a lot in the past, and talked to him at Tinley. Stopped over the table or just talking shop, and you know, uh, some people just have that skill. He's great at marketing. He's got a vision for his pairings, and he's on top of his game. He puts in the work. He's got a good team of people, and I'm not kissing anybody's butt, but let's just look at the obvious factors here.
Oh yeah,
Guy's on top of his game, and everybody is trying to get to that level. Very few will succeed to get to that level. But everybody tries to do their best, right? I realize that I'm never going to have a Canova operation. I'm a one-man guy working out of a shop,
Right.
So I have a friend that helps me, Brian, Chaotic Reptiles. He stops over, maybe on a weekend and helps me with the rodents, or during the week helps me, one afternoon when he's done with work. But basically, I'm running the show here by myself, so. I don't have a big team of people behind me. It's me pairing, it's me feeding, it's me, making the boxes, shipping the boxes, running the FedEx. So, I'm taking care of everything. So,
Right. Well, that's one of the things that I think that a lot of people that got into it during COVID didn't realize the amount of work that it is, right? And the failure rate is, I'm not saying failure rate as much of a business, but the failure rate when you have the possibility of hitting something and end up missing everything. Like people really don't talk about that all that much. And then when they do talk about it, there's just constant complaints about it. Did you ever have anything that you were like, oh man, this is going to be the project. I'm going to make 50, 100 grand off this project, and then ended up making nothing?
I don't set really high bar for stuff like that. I've done well on several. I've done really well on several projects. I can't complain really about any of them. I got some animals from Justin back in the day that I did really well on. I'll be honest. Probably the projects that I did the best on were animals that I originated from Justin. I way back in the day, I got a leopard clown from him. I think one of the first one that he sold the following year, or maybe even the same year, got a spot nose clown, red stripe, redhead, confusion. All those projects I picked up from Justin, and really did well on all of them. So at the time, besides maybe a few of those. Red stripe, redhead. Well, I guess leopard and spot nose at their time back in 15, 16 were kind of the top of the food chain. I mean, we're talking $5,000 purchases back in 2015, 16. That was fairly substantial.
We bought a super red stripe from Justin, and I remember we paid three to $5 grand for it, with no recessors in it at all back then. So it's definitely, that's what I think people forget too, is if you buy top of the line, you're gonna get top of the line offspring from it, right? Which is like an obvious thing. If you buy junk, odds are you're gonna get junk. And at the end of the day, the junk is kind of what's being peddled. I see on I know that you've had some success with morph market auctions, but I'm seeing a lot of sub even $100 snakes on there, and that's I think an issue. But like I think that I heard there was something like I don't know, 3 million or 2.5 million ball pythons in the country, and because it's not counting the 200,000 on morph market or whatever, it's counting ball pythons that aren't on there and they're just being sold other places and pet keepers and things like that. That's a lot of ball pythons in the country.
It's definitely a lot of ball pythons. I just think maybe, I don't know, part of that could be, I don't know this for a fact, but a lot of new people come in, since COVID, and maybe haven't yet or didn't, if they're gone, didn't develop the relationships that it's taken myself and others years to develop. And that's having people that you can wholesale some animals to,
Right.
So, and everybody, sometimes people ask you, well, where do you sell your animals wholesale? And I'm like, well, that's for you to find out yourself. It took me 10 years to figure out where to wholesale my animals to, put in 10 years and then maybe you'll figure out where you can wholesale your animals,
I remember that the first wholesaler that you got that said yes to you. You're like, oh my, thank fucking God. Right. Like I have all this, all this stuff that I would have to, that's not worth $200-300. I'd rather just buy, sell the byproduct to a wholesaler. And once you get that one, you think you're king of the world, and you kind of guard that secret a little bit because it takes you so long to actually get that for yourself.
It does. You have to put in time, and the people have to trust you that you're sending them healthy animals, and they can just turn around and, put those back up, or they sell them to pet shops or whatever they do with them. There's several outlets that, and wholesaling for a year or two was pretty tough. Even some regular wholesalers that I had, weren't buying too much stuff, but it's picked back up now, I've noticed, so it's a little bit easier. And then, so the quality of stuff that I might put on a morph market auction is probably a little bit better than some of the average quality. And I find it's really odd. I don't know why. I could have an animal on morph market for 2 or 3 months and I won't get any action on it at all. And then I put it on an auction and I get asking price or more for it. It just doesn't, sometimes it doesn't make any rhyme or reason, but it's working for me. So I just keep doing that along with my regular ads, and it's a way to keep moving some animals, which is, just keep the momentum moving and, make an addition here or there, to up your, genetic diversity in your collection and be able to move forward with different projects, or a different gene into a project that you're already working.
Right. Well, and you do a lot of the main shows, right? A lot of the nationals, like you were just to Tinley, right?
The last 2 years I've been hitting it pretty hard. Yeah. I go to Tinley fall and spring, March, October. I've picked up on Troy's show. Charlotte will be doing that next weekend. Picked up on Bob's show, Southeast Reptile Expo. Picked up we did the fall show there. Just did the spring show, so I'm gonna jump into obviously I do Daytona still. That's right in my backyard. Troy's picked up Nashville, so that's gonna be in May. I'm gonna do that show. So really nice to have a handful of shows a little bit closer than Tinley, Atlanta and Charlotte about 7.5 hours at the most for me. So I can make those shows, fit in pretty easily. So yeah, last year and this year, I think hit the circuit with pretty good, animals. And,
are you the only guy, or do you bring like a helper with you, or do you?
no, I've been vending Daytona. I basically vend by myself. My son will show up a day or two, but he's got a full-time job now. He's working at a car dealership, a salesman, so he's full-time. And I've been vending a handful of shows with Brandon Nixon and Matt Burton, Nixon Reptiles and KMB. So a couple really great guys. We've got a banner, put it together. I've got our logos on it, so we get an end cap, and that's been pretty cool. We'll be at Charlotte next weekend, and it'll be fun. And it's a good time vending with those guys. We all help each other out. Setup is a breeze, tear down's a breeze, and it's just nice. If you need a bathroom break or you want to go shopping for a few minutes yourself,
Right.
it's easy for somebody to watch over your tables for a few minutes, and at the end of the day, we all help each other pack out and get out on time. So it works out pretty well. It's always good hooking up with a couple people.
Do you do local shows like Repticons, or I know Repticons pretty much owns Florida, right? As far as local shows go,
I guess there's a show here a couple times a month, a Repticon. I used to do them. I think I stopped Repticon shows back in like maybe 16, 17, before I went kind of full time. Was going to like Tampa and Orlando, and just did those for a couple years, maybe 15, 16. And then just stop doing them, and then just pick up the bigger shows.
Right.
Yeah.
Do me a favor, Cory. Hang out a minute. We got to pay some bills.
Absolutely.
For like a mid little sponsor break here.
Absolutely.
All right. Speaking of local shows, I will tell you local shows that are way better than Repticon, and that's fucking Herps. Okay. Herps just kills it. Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Sean Gray and Lori Gray. I mean, they really run probably the best local show circuit in the country. On April 5th, they're going to be in Slidell, Louisiana. That's April 5th and 6th. Then they're going to be in Belton, Texas on April 26th and 27th. They're going to be they're going back to Louisiana, West Monroe. I believe that's a new show or a fairly new show. On May 3rd and May 4th, they're going to be in Stillwater, Oklahoma on May 31st and June 1st. Denison, Texas on June 7th and June 8th. And Conroe, Texas, that's the big show of the year, June 14th and June 15th. Go to herpshow.net and tell Sean and Lori that they're doing a fucking incredible job here. Also, I mean, this guy vends all the herp shows, and he's actually a very good friend of mine, Mr. Alan Britton of Recoil Reptiles.
At Recoil Reptiles, we understand your reptiles deserve the best. That's why we create custom CNC reptile enclosures with precision cuts, built to last and designed to showcase your scaly friends in style. With over a decade of experience, we craft enclosures up to 8 feet long, tailored to fit your needs and the needs of your animals. Whether you're a hobbyist or a breeder, we've got you covered with enclosures that are as unique as your reptiles. And we deliver to shows in Texas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. Recoil Reptiles, custom precision, built for your reptiles, built to last. Visit recoilreptiles.com today to design your perfect enclosure or call 405-999-7175.
Okay, let's talk. This is, I mean, this is different. What's up, Charlie? This is different for you. You're doing chameleons now, huh?
Yeah. Yep. I started that like the end of last year, beginning of this year.
How did that happen?
Well, for a handful of years, I was looking at tree monitors, to be honest with you. Really liked some tree monitors that I saw. I probably bugged Brian from Sundown more times than he cared to have been bothered at Tinley and such, and just walking up to his table and checking stuff out. And I was like, looked at the enclosure sizes that they needed. George M. Day, he's here in Florida. He's got some. Talked to George a handful of times online about that. And Will Moreau's got some tree monitors. He's got some really nice ones. He shows those off in his Discord a lot. And I just thought, cool species. I'd like to work with another species, but I just thought the caging requirements for those were a little bit cumbersome, to give them the right size enclosure. And then, like you need 4 foot by 4 foot by, 2 foot and stuff. So just got a little exposure to the chameleons and checked them out. I went down the rabbit hole in the chameleon world and started talking to some of the OGs in that side of the industry, and got my feet wet there. Got some stuff from a guy out in California, Camouflage, probably one of the biggest chameleon breeders in the country, Ed Camouflage of Camouflage Creations. Got some stuff from him, some real nice stock. Met a few other people while talking to him, a local guy here that I met up with. And then just, he introduced me to some other names, and Jonathan Hill of iPerdalis, he's got some really nice animals, and another guy, Reddy's Rainforest, they're out of Texas. Lee and Amanda have some really nice quality chameleons. So I've picked up a little bit from each one of those people, just trying to hone in on some particular types that I like. And it's a little bit different ball game, in all honesty, with the chameleons. There's certain different locales, obviously, as there is with other species, like the tree monitors. So it's pretty cool to try to, figure out what path you want to take. And so I'm working with 2 different locales, the Ambila Bay and Ambanja. So that's primarily what I'm working with now, and looking for a certain look in both of those locales. And that's been pretty interesting. And just every day going out into the shop, first thing when I open the door, I've got, 2 of my most prominent males. They're kind of right there when you open the door. And it's just funny to see, like, a lizard species, like, as soon as it sees you walk into the room, it knows where the door gets opened, and they literally will crawl to the branch right in front of where you open the door, and they'll be pawing at the glass almost, or the screen, waiting for you to take them out. And I go out there and open the door and take one or 2 of the males out and just hang out for a few minutes. And I don't do it all the time, but the females get a little upset when they see the males, so I try to keep them away from the females.
Are those panther chameleons?
Yeah, panther chameleons.
Yeah,
sorry for not. Yeah, if I didn't specify that, but yeah, panther chameleons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and back in the day, I had some veiled chameleons. I remember we paid like $100 for this veiled chameleon, and it fell off a branch and broke its arm. we had to pay like $600,
Really?
and the fucking vet put his arm in a little cast. I got a picture of it on my Facebook.
Oh my god!
$600. I was like, yo, I don't know about this. Okay. $600 for $100 animal. But we also had a Meller's chameleon, and man, I mean, that was one of the biggest species of chameleon that are out, and ours was like almost a foot long. So I'll tell you who told me that you were into chameleons, because you got him down a rabbit hole too.
Shane
Kelly.
Yeah. I talked to him a handful of times, and he's really enjoying it. He set up a nice little setup in his room. It's pretty cool. He sent me pictures every now and then, and he was all frustrated one day. He couldn't get his missing system to work, and we're messaging back and forth, and I saw a picture of how he had his pump, and I'm like, I bet you if you reposition that, he had it mounted like vertical.
Right, he had it mounted straight. Turns out that if he laid it down, it would be all right.
Horizontal, and I bet you, because I've got 2 of them exactly like you, and that's how they and he did, and he's like, man, that saved me a headache right there. He says I was ready to rip this darn thing out and start from scratch. But yeah,
what's interesting, I thought, is that when we were keeping them 20 years ago or whatever, you couldn't keep them behind glass,
right?
And fucking Shane's cages are like 80% glass. They have a little bit of screen on the bottom and top, and that's it.
There's a lot of variety in caging, so I've got both kinds. I've got some hybrid cages, which is kind of like what Shane has.
Right.
I actually got 3 cages from Dubia. I wanted to try some of their enclosures just to see, because they look pretty good. And I'm like, oh, let me give this a shot. I started out with 3 of those, and I got some Zoom Ed of the screen mesh enclosures. And I've got, it just all depends on, it works in my room because my humidity is pretty decent. But you can, based on what type of environment you're in and what your humidity is, it would kind of be the determining factor on what kind of enclosure you may want. So if you're in a lower humidity area, let's say you're out in Arizona, you might want a hybrid cage like that has glass and only maybe a screen on the top. That'll help maintain more of your humidity. Whereas if, I'm in a more humid area down here in Florida, I can get away with just the mesh cages. Sometimes the hybrid ones, they will hold a lot of humidity, and I may have to clean the bottoms of those up a little bit more. It's just sometimes it's dependent on what kind of environment you're in, what kind of enclosure might work better for your situation.
Right.
That's all I could say.
What's the incubation time?
About 6 months, and I've learned a few tricks. Yeah, I've learned a few tricks. So I'm only about 4 months away from hatching my first ones. So, we're getting there. The eggs are looking great. I check them, maybe every other week or so. They start to swell up. They look really healthy. I've had a clutch or 2, like half of them go bad, but it's kind of a trial and error thing. Initially, when I talked to Ed Camera, I told him what my setup was like, and people are probably bored in here. They're like, I thought this was going to be about snakes. He's talking about chameleons.
No, but believe me, my people, are used to that, right?
So, I run my room at ambient temperature of about 83 degrees. And that's not an ideal temperature that most people would recommend that you keep chameleons at. And when I talked to Ed, I was like, well, man, how is this going to work out for breeding? I hear the recommended temperatures like 75, 76 max and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, Cory, you're just going to have to, give it a try and see what happens. And when your ball python season is over, you make the determination if you want to switch back to like a lower ambient temperature and put belly heat on your animals. Because I don't have belly heat on any of my ball pythons except the hatchlings.
Okay.
I just keep the room at 83 degrees ambient. Yeah.
Right.
And I kind of learned that from Winston. That's how he runs his shop, his facility. He keeps it at ambient about 83. And before that, I was like messing around with, window shaker units, air conditioning units, and oil-filled heaters and stuff like that. And it was just a pain. So, excuse me for a second. I went to the ambient, and it's much easier, and I think my electric bill is a little bit less for it, especially here in Florida. People in this climate can get away with stuff like that. And
but people like me in New York, we definitely can't get away with that.
Right.
And do you once you successfully hatch chameleon eggs, are you going into different species of chameleons also? Just kind of like you're going to diversify, you're going to have some veils, you're going to have some other types, or no?
I don't think so. I think I'm happy with what I've got. They're within the panther chameleon species and subspecies. There's plenty to work with. I've found that I like the look of the ambanjas. They're more the blues and purples, and the ambilobays. I like, probably my favorite there is a yellow body blue bar, and that's kind of, I've got some red body blue bars, which is what a lot of people like those. I've had several requests for stuff like that, and that's the one that I brought to Atlanta and attracted a lot of attention. Right. Now I like that look. Don't get me wrong. It's very colorful. It's very flashy, but there's just something about the yellow body blue bar, and that I'm looking for a certain punch of yellow and a certain, color of blue on those. And it's going to take some time for me to probably produce, what I'm aiming for, because, just like we do with ball pythons, right? Breeders that you're buying from, they're not always necessarily letting go of their best stock, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
so you have to kind of work with what stock you're allowed to get from other breeders, and then try to improve on that, and that's what I'm working on right now. We'll see when the first clutches come out. Like I bought several from Cammer, just to like let them grow up, because you don't necessarily know what they're going to look like until they've aged a little
Right.
bit,
Right.
right?
Yeah. It's
So
one of those. Yeah. They're
yeah, I
opposite
brought
ball pythons. They look better
yeah,
older.
they
Yeah.
look great right out of the egg, and then as they get older, they don't look so nice. So
Right.
panthers, chameleons, they kind of come into their colors more as they age, which is definitely cool. You can watch one kind of develop, and you can, hopefully spot potential, and that's what you try to do, is spot potential in them, when they're younger. And then, what I don't think I see the potential in, I brought 10 to Tinley, and by close of business Friday, VIP hours, I sold all 10 of them by 3 o'clock.
Really.
Yeah.
And what's your average panther going for these days?
Males, like, 450, $500 for a nice looking male, and females a little less. Backwards of the ball python, you think females sometimes go for a little bit more. But a lot of people are looking for a colorful pet, and the males are the ones that show a lot of pretty colors. The females, I think some of the females that I have are beautiful in their own right, but they're not as flashy, obviously, as the males. So a little less money, maybe, $300, $350 for
Right.
what would be a potentially nice female.
Right.
So, I think I sold pairs in Tinley for, I was giving people kind of a break. I sold pairs for like $600, $700.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, worked out
Right.
really well. Yeah.
Yeah. You ever see the chameleons taking over the ball pythons?
Um, I don't think taken over. I really enjoy it, and we'll see. Like I can't put the cart before the horse. I haven't even hatched any myself yet. I'm just dealing with excess stock that I've purchased to try to hold back some good breeders. So continually probably do that. Buy some stock, and let them grow up and see what they look like, and then keep the best of that, and then sell off other ones as super nice quality pets, if
Right.
that's what people are looking for. But maybe they're not having a keen eye like I would have to pick out a breeder. So
And what's
but
the caging requirements for them? Is it like a 3x2x2?
I've got some females in like 18 by 18 by 36, and I've got most of my males in like 2x2x4. Those are the
Two
dubia
by two by
ones.
fours. Okay.
Yeah, just give them. They get a little bit bigger. Females, maybe, they'll get, maybe, I start breeding females at about 60 grams. So if you can imagine 60 grams, it's not huge, but males, I've got a couple of my males are 3 times as large as the females, 170, 180 grams, almost
Right.
200 grams. I've seen some males that are like 240, 250 grams. My males are only about a year old,
Right.
but they're pretty flashy, pretty cool colors.
How long do they live for?
I haven't experienced that firsthand, but what I'm getting is, males, maybe, 5 to 7 years, females that you're breeding, 4 to 6 years, depending on, how you do with them. The supplements and their diet is pretty critical, because if you don't feed them the right amount of supplements, calcium and vitamin D, and supply the right lighting, they can get what they call metabolic bone disease. They're gonna
Right.
they're gonna calcify their eggs one way or another, and if you're not giving them enough calcium in their diet with supplements, they're they're going to get metabolic bone disease. They'll slough calcium from their bones and actually lose bone structure and joint structure in order to calcify their eggs. So
Right.
mine
And
are all,
they put out a lot of eggs, right?
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to get a balance on right now. Is I've got some females that are about right where I want them. I've had one female that's laid 28 eggs twice. That I don't really want any more than that. I'd like to see around the 25 number. Obviously, the more eggs that they lay, the more stressful it is for them. And
Right.
I've got one female now that she's laid 35 eggs 2 times in a row.
Oh,
So I'm kind of trying to. It's a balance of backing down on how much you feed them, and like I said, my ambient temperature right now is kind of fixed at 83, and I'd like to keep it there to keep the ball pythons where I've had them for several years now. I've been in the room that I'm in now since 2019, so I really don't want to change anything. It's been pretty successful there. So I just have to balance the diet on the chameleons and feed a few females a little bit less. Let's say instead of giving them 12 crickets every day, maybe I'll give them only 10 crickets a day, and,
right.
and maybe skip one day a week.
Right.
Maybe don't feed them on Sunday, and
Mm.
give them less. And that way I can bring that one female that has laid 35 eggs, maybe bring her down into the, 28, right, 25 to 28 range, just to keep her healthy longer, keep her
And
life expectancy longer.
what do they incubate at? The chameleon eggs.
Um, I'm just going by what I've heard from other people. I'm keeping them right around 72 degrees, 72 to 73.
Okay.
I've heard some people recently, got a lot of information from Lee Reddy from Reddy's Rainforest, and he's told me pretty much, I think I need to get a second incubator to do this the way that I really want to do it.
Right.
And if you can incubate, so I got a Wilbanks incubator, one of those homeostatic ones. Since my room is
Right.
83 and I need to keep the eggs at 72 degrees, I obviously need something that cools. So I got one of those smaller incubators, and it's starting to fill up. So not only would I get a second one for another purpose, the first month or so, some people have told me that they'll start the eggs and incubate them between 60 and 65 degrees. It's kind of a diapause. They kind of go into, uh, they're not going to count towards incubation time too much.
Right.
But then you can take, and after a month or so, bring them up to 72 degrees, and people, I guess, are consistently hatching them at the 6-month mark when they do that. So I may be looking at 6 or 7 months. I did
Right.
start them at 72, but we'll see how it goes. I just, the process is what it is.
Yeah.
They're going to hatch when they hatch, and maybe I can change things. But as long as I'm getting healthy chameleons hatch, I'm going to be really happy, and the eggs are looking good. So I'm already happy about that 2 months in.
Right.
If something was going to go bad with some of these clutches, they would be looking poor right now, and they look fantastic.
Right. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's swing back to shows for a minute, because you
Yep.
do a lot of the national shows.
Yep.
What's been the one change that you've seen in the last 5 or 10 years of the local shows or not the local, the national shows? What are you noticing the difference? For instance, like, what's the difference between what Bob did in Georgia and what Troy does down in South Carolina? What do you think the difference is between those and the legacy shows, like the Potters and the Super shows, the Tinleys and NARBCs?
Yeah.
Or even, I mean, you want to talk about legacy shows, Daytona, right? Nobody
Right.
gets more legacy than Wayne.
Then Wayne, right?
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you think the changes are, and why do you think that the new shows like Troy's and Bob's are already attracting like national attention?
Well, I think, and I'm not saying that the other people have not been reptile breeders. Okay, so obviously Potter has a pet store. Bob's been,
Right.
in the
Yeah.
reptile community for a long time, but guys that have vended shows on a consistent basis. Let's talk about Bob and Troy. So those guys have been vending shows alongside of me, and before me, probably in Bob's case, maybe not. I don't know when he started vending shows, but I started in 14, and I know he was coming on the scene about the same time there.
Right.
Hey, Courtney, how you doing? So I think from a perspective of vending shows, that those guys know, what would be nice to have as a vendor, not just nice to have for a show, not just to have a nice venue, a nice hotel, a block, in a good area, but um, the support that they give you at the shows, like they're walking around, they're asking how you're doing. Troy and Nick obviously did that at their show. I think Bob took that to the next level at his show here. And
but Bob had people waiting for the vendors to come.
It was
It
was a great setup and a great experience. If every show was like that, every show would be booked solid, and you'd never get into a show. But yeah, to pull up and have basically people directing traffic to back you into a loading dock and open the doors of your vehicle and have two carts there ready with Bob's team of people, that once you've checked in, they know exactly what tables you're at. Go and park your car, come back, and when you walk into the place, all your stuff is sitting behind your tables.
Right.
There's nothing from a vendor perspective that gets any better than that as far as getting into a show or getting out of a show. So to even have that as a thought, that's strictly from, I think, not only a businessman standpoint, but the only way that, Bob probably thought of that is, look what it takes Bob to load into a show on a normal routine. Like, he's got, 5 or 6 guys or more, and they've got, hand pallet jacks and stuff like that and loading stuff in. So for him to take into account like that would really make it smooth, and literally the load in and load, like your vehicle was in the loading dock for less than 5 minutes, in or out. That's what I experienced. I just think the attention that, paying to vendors, with them being vendors in the past on a consistent basis, takes the show to a next level. Both of those shows, So I give them both credit. Bob's going to do the one show.
Bob's show was run so good.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. And basically, Bob vended. Did Bob vend at that show? I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, he had his team. Yep.
Right. And Josh Jackie, was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was probably one of the best run shows that I've ever been to. Was that
super smooth.
Georgia show? Yeah. And the place was so nice. It was.
Yeah.
Now, over the last 10 years, like you said, there's been the ups and downs, and like I've seen about 6 or 7 of these, market's going to crash type thing, and the market always comes back, right? So
yeah,
whether it comes back with a guy like Justin or whether it comes back with some new guy, which is a possibility every time, but it normally always comes back. But a lot of people are just saying that the low end market is actually good because it's putting these animals into the hands of new pet people now. And let's say you get 1 out of every 50 kids that get a ball python now to decide to take it to that next level. Like, isn't that really worth it at the end of the day? Because you're still growing the hobby in a way where everybody's happy. The pet people are happy, and the breeders are happy because they're getting that 1 out of 50, could turn into 500, depending on the time. So where do you see the market going in 5 years?
I mean, I think nobody lives forever, so we're all gonna pass on one day. And for the market to continue, of course, new people need to enter. And I think, like you're saying, if you get a conversion of maybe 1 out of 50, 1 out of 100 people that picks up an animal, this could be just like happened with me. My son wanted something, we picked up a couple animals, and boom, before you know it, a year later, we're breeding animals, and 5 years after that, we're self-sustaining business. So I think it starts at the bottom with with pet keepers, and because that's what I thought I was doing when I started. I thought I was getting a couple pets, for myself and my son, and but look what it turned into. I've been doing this now 13 years. So I think, yeah, the pet community is an important part, and I think it's always going to be that way. I think we're always going to have to cater to some entry level people, which people catered to me when I started. I had guys like Mike Wilbanks, Justin, Brock and Winston, all helped me out when I was starting. So I think that you have to help those new people, whether you're selling them a pet and they come back 6 months later and they say, hey, I got this from you like 6 months ago or a year ago. And, I've been thinking about, maybe, having a couple more and, breeding them and getting some eggs and seeing what happens. I think you just have to give them some honest input on what if they ask you, hey, what do you think I should do? Just be honest with them and give them some good guidance. Maybe they don't have great guidance. And if they're asking you, they obviously probably don't have much guidance, or they're looking for information from a handful of sources, which is good as well. I asked questions of many people when I was getting into it, and I didn't just go with one person's idea. I kind of took a bunch of ideas and made my own plan up, which is kind of a unique way of doing it. I don't think anybody's going to just go with, person A's way of doing things or person B. You're kind of going to operate things your own way, and,
Right.
and if somebody's asking for help on some input, it's fair game to give them help. And I'll tell you, just when I'm starting out with Chameleons, I'll bring it back to that for a second. I was talking to Lee Reddy there. I believe it was Lee. I'm pretty sure I was talking to him and not his wife on Messenger. And I was like, man, I really appreciate some of this information that you're giving me. Like, nobody's told me these certain pieces of information. And as a new, keeper of Chameleons, I really appreciate all the information that you're giving me. And he's like, hey, we're not gatekeeping any information here, because if we're gatekeeping information, we're not going to further our hobby any further. We need to share information that is making other people successful to keep the industry thriving. And
Right.
I think
Well,
I took that from him and Ed Kammer, and I'm like, I would strive to be like that, to help the industry, to grow with new people that are coming in, because they just did that to me within the last 6 months. So
right.
I would look more to do that to more people in the future. It's just kind of opened my eyes, being a new person in a different species. Now it makes me look on a different light into new people in a species that I've been keeping for a while,
Well,
and
right,
how,
especially coming from where we come from, right? Where
yeah,
15 years ago, there's crazy amounts of gatekeeping with the ball python
right,
hobby. I mean, just so much, right?
yeah,
And that's the one thing that I think that YouTube and all these online destinations did, was they did open it up a lot, because I remember asking Ralph Davis questions, and he would either lie to me or omit certain things that I needed to do.
right,
Okay. And
yeah,
I remember Tom Baker, who was a very good friend of mine, the guy that did the crystal the first time, and hatched out the first specials. He basically told me that the reason that they do that is because you can't help selling to your competition with the ball python thing, right? Because the thing is that everybody says they're in it for the love of the ball python, but show me a person with one ball python. All right.
Yeah.
I don't see that many. Okay. I see people with 12 ball pythons trying to make some kind of business out of it, you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
So the difference, and you going into another species right now and seeing how open it is, it probably gives hope to a lot of people that the ball python thing is much more open than it used to be.
It is. I think that it is. Depending on who you're talking to, but there is that information out there on several, podcasts. Like people listening to this now, they're gonna be like, oh wow, this guy's willing to share some information, and I share as much information as anybody wants to ask that I'm capable of. Again, I'm only one person, so I can't get back to everybody, the same day sometimes, but I do try to get back to everybody that has some questions for me, and wants to know information. Like I'm gladly share, anything you want to know, like what substrate I incubate on, and what temperatures I incubate at, and how I built an incubator. And if you're looking for any of that kind of stuff, it's not really tough to ask. It may take me a little while to get back to you and have a full answer, but I'll definitely get back to you and have an answer. I'm not
Right.
I like the next guy to be as successful at his journey as I have been on mine,
Right.
and some of those people obviously are going to do it probably better than me and would overtake me. And that's fine as well, because everybody's going to put their spin on what they need to do.
Right.
So, I'm not afraid of the competition. I know what I've been doing. I've got a solid customer base, and I just put my name and my service is my reputation. So I don't have anything else to fall back on. That's what I have to do.
Well, I think that's what a lot of the young people coming in that are right out of it forget, right? Like
Right.
you're not going to establish a reputation in 2 years.
Yeah.
No matter how good you think you are,
Right.
like you gotta, like when I first started this podcast, man, I wouldn't think of doing a podcast and telling people how I did it when I was doing it for 2 years or two
Right.
or 3 years.
Yeah.
There was no way I was even 5 years, honestly.
Right.
I was just like, there's no way I'm even relevant enough to do that at the time. But you do it 8, 10, 12, 15 years, then you start thinking, all right, I know a little bit, that we could kind of show some people, some things that they don't know, because you don't got to be an expert on everything, right? You just have
No.
to know a little bit more than the
Right.
person who's asking the question.
Sure. Sure. And you probably know more than a little bit from somebody that's just starting out, somebody that hasn't had their first clutch yet, or, has a male that doesn't want to breed, and they may ask you, like I get this question, man, I can't get this male to breed, and what should I do? And I'm just like, well, here's what I do, and give them a few pieces of information. And, they may come back a few weeks later and they're like, it worked, and I'm like, wow, awesome. I'm glad
Yeah.
it worked out for you, and,
Yeah.
so,
I
it's all
remember even a male that wouldn't breed like in 2006, and fucking Ken Masick was like, put him in the car, take him in for a drive.
yeah.
And I was like, what? And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah. And then I do it like an asshole, right? And then I get back. I'm like, yo, he's still not breeding. Ken's like, I can't believe you're a fucking moron. You took the thing in the fucking car, So I was just like, yeah, no, I'll get back at you one day, brother. All right. But you guys got a lot of the legends out there, like Ken Masick and like
Yeah.
the other people out there. And it was probably, but the thing in Florida is you got to do more for keeping anything, right? As far as like don't you have to register every animal that you keep?
No, it's not every animal. You have to keep inventory of what you have, but there's not so much a register. I think they have some requirements for species that are grandfathered in, like Burmese and retics and stuff like that, I think they have to be chipped, if I'm not mistaken. I was
Right.
sharing this in Discord group that I'm in, maybe a an Instagram chat. Somebody was asking about that, and so I was looking up under FWC, and I think it's some of the conditional species that have to be registered, have to be chipped, and stuff like that. So it's not, like I've got 200 ball pythons or whatever I have out in the garage. I don't have to have those registered. I have to have inventory, so I know what I have, and if anybody was to stop here and say, hey, let's see a record of what you've got going on here. You've
Right,
got an inventory. So yeah, it's not rocket science. You just have to be on top of your paperwork.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So
Yep.
so now where's CD Constrictors going in 5 years?
5 years.
Size, do you have a Canova aspiration of moving out to a facility that you're going to build? Because I see a lot of people building facilities now,
right.
and
right.
that's kind of the new hip thing, right?
I guess it is. I have a large garage. I bought this place from my parents in 2012. So I'm sorry, 2012. I've been in this place for 12 years, coincidentally, almost 13 now. So, and that's about the time I started ball pythons when I got here. So I've got an 1,800 square foot garage, and I've only got 450, maybe a little bit more than that, dedicated to the ball pythons. So I could expand easily another 600 square feet if I wanted to, by taking a wall out that I put up on purpose. I could expand really easily if I wanted to. So I don't ever see the need to do that. I'd like to actually get more focused on a few projects with the ball pythons, and which takes time. You'll hear we talk to Will Morose a lot, and sometimes to get smaller and more focused, sometimes you have to get bigger first.
Right.
That's what it takes. So, if you want to get focused in one area, sometimes that will require you to get larger and balance, your inventory with what you're aiming to do in the future. And I think that's kind of where I'm at now. Is I'm probably as large as I want to be with the ball python inventory, and it probably is going to be that way for a few years until I can, have some of these projects that I'm working on come to fruition.
And what are some of the big projects that you're working on?
Just some multi-recessives, working some, sunset stuff, working some puzzle stuff, putting other, recessives with that, putting other codoms with that. And really, when you think of some of the projects that we're working, just to add 1 or 2 genes to, let's say, a double or triple recessive project, that takes a long time. If you just want to add, let's just say you're working, Sunset Clown or something, and you want to add Hurricane to that. Just do the math on what that's going to take you if you're working with, and if you want to add a spot nose Hurricane, just do the math on that and see how long that's going to take you to work that into that project and have something hatch that has those genetics in it. So I'm trying to start with not just producing, I'm going to say it because I just said it. I'm trying not to produce just Sunset Clown, for example. I've tried to produce a Sunset Clown that has, maybe spot nose, maybe has Hurricane, maybe has spot nose and Hurricane, and has red stripe and has, yellow belly. So, and asphalt. So I'm working several incomplete dominant traits into those projects, which is going to take me a longer time probably to achieve some of the goals in that one project that I'm working on. But, at the end of the day, when a Sunset Clown is worth maybe, $1,000, I may have a 3 or 4 gene Sunset Clown that will still bring a pretty good command,
like
a pretty good dollar.
Sunset Clown Confusion.
or give the example of DG clowns right now. You can get a DG clown male for $1,000 with no other genes in it. But if you want a DG Pompeii, that's
Right.
that's a $10,000 plus animal,
Right.
because
Yeah.
there's 4 incomplete dominant genes in there along with it. So is there still a ways to go in a relatively new project, Sunset Clowns? There's still a very long ways to go in something like that. So trying to have a longer vision than a year or two, trying to have a vision of 3 or 4 years or 5 years, and just, not only one project, but several different projects.
Right. Right.
Excuse me. So that's kind of, the transition kind of period that I'm in with some of these projects that I'm working, is you might take a step back in production, on a certain project, but when you finally do catch up and start producing, the quality of animals that are going to come out are going to be very genetically diverse, and be well worth the time that I've waited, I think, in working those. So yeah, just put, yeah, there you go, as an example. I mean, something like that, the numbers on that, and put
Well,
some more.
I mean, I think it's like, it's just, you know what the odds are going into it, right? For
Right.
instance, my best friend, or one of my best friends, hit triple visual from a triple het to a triple het.
Right.
Just sold it to Bob. It was the most expensive snake at CRE, right?
Right.
So
right.
it's, and automatically you start questioning. You're like, man, why didn't you have any incomplete dominance in it? It would have been worth so much more,
Right. Right.
But the luck involved and the amount of time involved is, I used to say, I don't think that people realize how long 2 years is when they're first getting into this. But now I say, I don't think people understand the math that's involved when you're trying to hit these crazy fucking combos,
Yeah.
The chances of you hitting it, and it all has to do with luck, really, so
there is a game of odds there that we all understand, right? I mean, we all understand that there's some odds that are for us, some odds that are against us, and that's the calculated risk that we take on the projects. And if you don't take the risk, you don't get the reward.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, that's
what you have to do.
You miss every shot that you don't take, right?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. If you never swung, you never got to first base.
Right. So, do me a favor, because we just spoke about your parents a little bit. Do me a favor, stand up.
Let's do it, man. How many of these shirts are we gonna sell?
That's what I'm saying.
Deeds, not words.
Sorry, deeds, not words. Fucking don't just talk about it. Fucking do it. What I thought was great was, I think your mom emailed me.
She probably did. Yeah.
Yeah.
She probably did. Knowing my mom, she probably emailed you directly. She probably wanted your phone number so she could call you.
She did. She didn't want my phone number, but she did email me directly.
Yeah.
So fucking nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just like, this is fucking awesome. That we're hitting people that aren't even in the snake business to do the supporting of the disabled vets. So I want to thank your mom. So if your mom is listening right now, thank you.
She's probably sleeping, but she will definitely be on the replay crew.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Everybody go out and buy a shirt. thefatmannation.com. Just click on the support disabled vets tab.
Click on it, man. It's a good cause. It's basically a donation. You guys can use it as a tax write-off,
Right.
Donation
yeah,
for
absolutely.
disabled veterans,
Yeah.
I'm a disabled vet myself, so I'm not only a veteran, but I go to the VA. The VA is a great resource, and there we go. There's the link right in the chat.
Right
click
there.
it, hit it,
boom.
It's cost you less than going out to dinner,
Right.
So
Yeah.
grab
absolutely.
a t-shirt, support. It's a good cause. Get some veterans out in an environment that they'd rather have than being in lockdown, not getting out. So
yeah, I saw this great video that Camp Freedom, who the donations are all going to, where a guy had a wheelchair with tank treads on it, and they took that guy hunting for the first time, and 10 or 15 years, and
Right.
he had to go out and do it. And they have like 600 acres or 6,000 acres, I believe, down there in Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
where they have everything on site. They make sure nobody's going to shoot each other. Okay,
Right.
and really, I mean, it's just a great cause, and we're having so much fun doing it. We do something for the disabled vets every year.
Yeah.
Like we did stuff with the Hero Company and Till Valhalla and all that. But this year we were like, why don't we make it the only charity all year that we're doing?
Right.
And just try and do this. And I got to tell you, we've been having a lot of fun with it, and it's been fairly successful. And I know some people are getting tired of all my posts because they seem to think that's all I post about now. They could seriously go eat a dick, because I'm going to be doing this until July every fucking day.
That's
So
good. That's good, man. The veterans, I mean, they laid it on the line, and put their money where their mouth is, volunteered their service. My dad was in the Air Force. I was in the Navy. I got several friends that were in the service, and it was an honor serving. And if I could do it again, I probably would do the same thing again. So
yeah, I don't even. I was getting on a plane to Georgia, and there was a disabled vet in front of me, and I was like, I don't even want to get on the plane early. All right, this guy fucking lost his leg to like a fucking IUD or something. I lost my leg because I was partying in the early 2000s too much. So I don't even want to get on the plane. But really, it's a fun thing to do that's actually helping people out. So you get a cool shirt, fucking obviously you saw the shirt got my picture on it, but that's what's funny about it,
yeah.
Yeah, we're having a great time, and thank you for supporting that whole thing.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I think it's not the only thing that brought this podcast together, but I've been meaning to hop on here a long time, but we just started chatting about that, and we're like, hey, let's do an episode. And I'm like, yeah, I'm for it. Let's, and if, I don't get cornered on many of these very often, but I kind of I've kind of like to fly under the radar, so.
I will guilt every motherfucking breeder there to have to be on the show if it gets more money for the vets, right?
Yeah, sure.
So, Cory, we're gonna finish it up now, but last question: best and worst thing about this hobby and this business since you started?
Best and worst, I think I've developed some really good friendships. Honest, not just business friends, but friends that I could talk to on a daily basis, a weekly basis, whatever it is. I'd say that's absolutely the best thing. We all have some things in common. And when we get on the phone or, have a text, group text or whatever, it's not always about reptiles. It's about life. We share the same life experiences. We're all human beings. So I'd say that is one of the best, absolutely the best experience that I've had in my 13 years of being in this industry, is the friendships that you can make and have and maintain over the years. Have friends to talk to life things about, not just reptiles, but talk life things. If somebody's got a shitty day at the job, and they just are having a rough day, and they give you a call or send you a text, and you try to lift them up a little bit, and be there for them and talk to them, and or if they have whatever their scenario is, they have a great day, you cheer them on, to say, hey, congratulations, whatever, and on the flip side of that, the worst part of it is some of the infighting. I mean, we've always got some amount of it going on, and whether people want to understand it or not, we're all a community, and the infighting, it's just really, it's kind of ridiculous when you look at it, as we're all human beings, and we all got to live together. We all got to get along, and I don't see some of the senseless bashing of people and companies and stuff like that. there's plenty of meat on the bone here for everybody to have a little bit. And let's just stop the trashing of other people in the industry. There's plenty of room for everybody to live and grow in this hobby, and have a pretty darn good time and have a pretty good living at it. So I don't see some of the senseless bullshit that goes on every day. You know, don't need to point stuff out, but it's out there. It's always been out there, and it's one of the most frustrating things for me to see is people that have common interests just clashing over nothing, really, over senseless bullshit.
Well, I'm sorry that you wasted the last 2 hours because my wheelhouse is senseless bullshit.
No, you know what we're talking about, man. You know, I think I like your delivery on some stuff, you know, and I hope that people can take something away and learn that you know, you're out here having fun, you know, and that's what it's all about. You've got a different take than other people have on stuff, and that's what makes every person their own person, right? Not everybody's all exactly the same. I can appreciate what you're doing just as much as I can appreciate, you know, what some of my competitors are doing and things like that. So we're all in the a big industry here. We can all get along. There's room for everybody, and this senseless infighting is really a downer sometimes. You know, I'd like people just to get along, and you know, there's enough room for everyone here.
Yeah, but some of it's pretty funny. You got to.
It is. It's funny. It is. Some of it you can get a chuckle out of, but you know, at the end of the day, sometimes it's like, you know, that wasn't needed. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's all good. You know, I think we're all here to better the industry, and everybody's got a different take on how they want to make it better. And you know, you just go with what you're gonna do, and make it work for you. That's all you can do. Yeah.
Fucking Cory DeLong, real life human, real life solutions.
That's it.
How could people get in touch with you, man?
I'm on the IG. I got a website. It's all under CD Constrictors. You know, Facebook. I'm out there. Just stop by a show. Stop by and say hi at Tinley. You know, drop me a message. My phone number's out there. It's on pretty much. It's on Morph Market, I think. If you don't feel like contacting me through Morph Market, you can send me a message. A lot of people just have my number and they contact me on a regular basis. It's really easy, man. It's right there in the screen. Just hit me up and I'd be glad to chat with you.
And what's the next show you're going to be at?
Charlotte next weekend.
Charlotte next weekend.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cory, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for supporting the veterans. Everybody appreciates it. I know I certainly do, and I thank you for that.
Thank you, man.
Yep.
Cory DeLong, CD Constrictors. Thank you, brother. I will talk to you in a couple of days.
All right. Have a good one, brother.
All right, man. Have a good
See
one, man.
Bye.
Bye. Yo, what a cool fucking guy, right? I mean, the dude, I'll talk to a vet 24 hours a day. I don't give a fuck. But great fucking dude. We got some things coming up in the next 2 weeks. We're going to have an open Zoom call for Reptile Keepers. The celebrity Zoom call for Patreon members only is going to be at the end of this month. Also, we'll announce the guest in the next couple of days. And let's see, what else is going on? We're going to Hamburg. We're going to the Nassau Reptile Expo, and I believe we're going to the Capital City Expo in Albany. All running a table for the Operation Deeds Not Words campaign. I'm going to have my boy Jay from Green Line with me the whole time. Probably HJS will probably come up. They've been helping us a lot. And we appreciate them too. I mean, we appreciate all the help that we've been getting. I mean, you guys really came out of nowhere and just started helping us and got behind this thing, and I appreciate it. But you know, I got through all the sponsor ads. Pretty fucking cool, Chris. One more, Sea Serpents. Okay, Sea Serpents, racks and incubators. Listen, we had a bunch of fucking Sea Serpent racks 10, 15 years ago. Still got a couple in the closet somewhere, just in case. All right, just in case. Check out seaserpents.com. Chris Nettles, hardest working guy in the fucking hobby. I mean, this guy drove all the way up to Pennsylvania to do a show, and that wasn't like 10 years ago. All right, that was 4 months ago. Okay, so Chris, still the hardest working guy in the reptile business. I appreciate all his support. We will be back with a Fatman Live in about a week or two. That's right, Brian Bodie, buy a fucking shirt or another one. Buy two. If you got a hot wife, get her a fucking tank top. They look sexy as fuck. I will be back here in 2 weeks. We'll also have a couple of videos dropping in the next couple of weeks. And that's really all I got to say about that. Okay. Again, boom, buy the shirt. Okay. Fatman Nation or thefatmannation.com. Go pick up a shirt. Join the Patreon. Have a little bit of fun. We got a bunch of exclusive stuff there. I'm putting up a Gettysburg video this weekend on Patreon. Me and Adam Shira from Proper Royals have a thing on there. Me and Shane have a thing on there. We have a video series called Shitting On. And our most popular series on there is the Storyteller series, which is getting a ton of positive reviews about the old school guys, just telling stories what it was like in the 90s and early 2000s. So, all right, guys, I will see you in 2 weeks, if not before then. Thank you for staying for this whole thing. I appreciate all of you. Bye-bye.